Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Tasha, and baby, I'm back with another video. Y'all stay tuned, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate you. If you're back again, welcome back. I appreciate you as well. How's everybody doing today? I hope this video finds everybody in good health and good spirits, okay? So let's get right down to it. I wanted to talk to y'all for just a quick minute about something I saw on YouTube yesterday. So I seen a video from Strongmommychrissy, right? And she said that her and her husband had split up. So I'm not coming on here to, say anything about that situation other than my heart goes out to Strongmommychrissy. I know how it feels to have a relationship that's not working out. My husband and I, in our relationship, have been separated. We were separated for 2 years. So I know how that feels, right? And so my heart goes out to Strongmommychrissy in that regards, right? And I pray that their union gets back together. She did say in the video, and I didn't realize this, that Strongmommychrissy was, she said 29, she'll be 30 next year. Like, I didn't know she was that young. I didn't know she was still in her 20s. So, for that woman to have 8 children, doing all that she's doing, like, that really speaks a lot about that young lady. Now, again, there are going to be some people that is going to be very judgmental towards her. And for her coming out on social media, putting her personal business out there like that. And, that's woman's decision. She has a channel that's about her and her life with her and her children. Her husband is a part of her life. And if she wants to come out here and talk about that, she can. I will say this, she didn't get into grave detail. And I'm glad she didn't, because we didn't need to know all the detail. To be quite honest with you, she said they've been separated for 2 weeks. But within this last 2 weeks, Strongmommychrissy has she's dropped a couple of videos. Yeah, I couldn't tell that they weren't together. But again, I will say this, her husband wasn't in a lot of her videos, right? And that's their choice, because I will tell y'all this, y'all won't see mine in a lot of my videos because this YouTube channel is my channel, right? Now, he supports me, my family supports me, but they support me from the background, right? Now, you might see him from time to time, but he's not a big social media person, right? So, and that's his decision, that's his choice, and I respect him for that, and he respects me for mine, right? So, it's not to say that he doesn't love me because he don't want to be on my channel. I do understand there are a lot of YouTubers who do have their significant others, boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, husbands, whatever, on their channels as a part of their, channel. And that's their thing, that's not for everybody. So, but yeah, like I said, y'all, I commend her for coming out here and putting that information out on social media. And of course, y'all already know, people gonna be speculating, adding stuff into the story, taking stuff out, putting their own thoughts and twists on it. And y'all do whatever y'all feel like you gotta do, but that woman said they're separated. She didn't say why. She don't need to say why. She said they were separated. Now, again, this is an assumption. 9 times out of 10 it tend to be another woman, but then it might not be. It might be something different. We don't know, but what I will say this is, unfortunately, the unfortunate part is there's kids involved, right? And for what she said yesterday, they have her 2 youngest children are theirs together, and then he has children from another relationship, and then she has the 6 children from other relationships. So they have a large family. So I'm hoping that those two people, Strong Mommy Chrissy and her husband, figure out a way to bring their union back together. But if for some reason they don't figure out a way to bring their union back together, I pray they still figure out a way to co-parent all those children that's involved, right? Even the 6 that's not his. They've been together, she said, 4 years. So he has known those kids for 4 years. So he has become a part of their lives. And I truly hope that he's a man and he stands up to that responsibility, right? You've been playing the father figure for those kids for 4 years. If you and her do not get back together, don't take that away from those children, right? But as y'all know, you know how, stuff like that happen. The kids getting forgotten in relationships. And the adults tend to worry about their needs and forget about the children's needs. But in their situation, I pray that that doesn't become true. I pray that they can figure it out. Whichever way they need to figure it out. I just hope each party is happy and they have positive results on whatever happens in their relationship. Right? So, yeah, y'all, it's rough. It's rough having kids outside of the relationship, because, when you have children, they are now a part of the relationship, and whatever happens in y'all relationship, the kids are affected by it, and that's the hard part of that. So I hope Strong Mommy Chrissy gets it together. Like I said before, I admire her for coming out here on the social media platform and giving us that information. That woman did not have to do that, and I admire her for that. And I pray that whatever backlash or ridicule that she will, because trust me, she will, get from doing that, I pray that she's strong enough to handle it, right? Because as we know, for all y'all who follow Strong Mommy Chrissy, she's had a lot of problems with putting her business on social media. A few months ago, she had a pregnancy that she talked about, and then she didn't talk about it, and then she came back and said that she decided to get rid of the pregnancy. That woman received a lot of hell from putting that out there. So, although I know, abortion and separation are two different things, but it's something that you put out there. And as y'all know, in our society, we are very judgmental people. So, I just pray that whatever comes out of this, that woman can handle it, right? So, I just wanted to talk on that, y'all, really quick. I also wanted to talk on something else, right? So, like I've told you guys before, I am a foster parent. And been a foster parent for about 3 years now. And been having some thoughts of maybe not fostering anymore. And I talked about this in another video. It's not the children. It's more so the system itself. I'm going to tell y'all something. And I'm going to just say this. And I don't mean to offend anyone. I do understand that kids get put in the foster care system for an array of reasons. Sometimes things are embellished in situations, and I understand that. But what I don't understand is me as a mother, my 4 kids, okay? Like, unless it was incarceration, severe mental illness, I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know. I know for a fact that I wouldn't be able to function with not being with my children. And the reason why I can say this, y'all, is because I see the trauma that these kids go through without being with their families. And you try to fill that void as much as you can. But when it's all said and done, sometimes you just not good enough, right? especially when you get the children who are older, and have been with their parents for a long amount of time. It's harder for them to adjust to the fact that they're not with their family, right? Now the smaller kids, they miss their parents too, but they can adjust a little better, you know? And I just think that, you know, it needs to be more support systems in place for foster parents. Because we endure, a lot of the trauma that these children go through. Like when these kids go off on their visits with their families and then they come back, they don't want to leave their mom or their dad or whomever. And then they have to come back to your house. And from my experience, you have to deal with a lot of the behaviors of the aftermath of that. And unfortunately, there is no there is not a lot of support systems in place for foster parents, and for them to deal with the things that they deal with as caring for these children, right? Now, they will put in services for the parents to receive therapy depending on whatever their situation is. They put in services for the children to receive therapy depending on whatever the situation is. But the foster parent always gets forgotten. And prior to me becoming a foster parent, yeah, I didn't know that, right? You know, as a foster parent, you wear several different hats. You know, you wear the hat of a foster parent. You wear the hat of a caregiver. You wear the hat of a comforter, a protector, an educator. You wear so many a therapist. You know, you wear so many different hats. And I'm gonna say this to y'all. In my state, which I believe is in all states, they have something called respite care. Okay? And respite care is where you, as the foster parent, if you are needing for someone to watch your children, like for example, spring break is coming up. And I had got a call the other day from a foster parent who's a friend of mine. She's going on vacation for spring break, just herself. And she asked me if I could foster her 2 children for her. Could I do respite care, I should say. I'm sorry. Could I do respite for her? Unfortunately, I couldn't because I didn't have the space for it. And she didn't know it because I hadn't talked to her in a while. And but respite care is needed in the foster care system for the foster parents because you need a break. You need that time to yourself to get yourself together because you get lost. You get caught up in all that's going on. You try not to, but you do. You do. You get caught up. You get involved in all the lives. You get involved in the children's lives. You get involved in the parents' lives. It's kind of hard not to. If you're truly a foster parent who truly, genuinely cares, it is hard for you not to get involved. It really is. Because I'm a type of foster parent, I needs to know what's going on. When they call me for care, I need to know the family dynamics. I need to know as much information that I can get. Like I need to know the situation with the child, why is the child in foster care? I need to know if the child has been in foster care for an extended amount of time or is this child first time. Like that helps me formulate a plan on how I am going to take care of this child or children. I do not like going to anything blind. Now, what you will find out in foster care is a lot of times you don't get all the information that you need to get. A lot of times you tend to don't get the information till you're already in it, right? And what people don't understand is foster children are not a pair of shoes. You know how you go to the store and you buy a pair of shoes, and in the store they look really cute. You be like, oh, these are cute. And then you get home and you be like, dang, they look better in the store than they do here. And then you take them back, get your money back, and go to another store and buy you another pair or whatever. Yeah, the foster kids are not like that. Like when they call you and ask you if you can take placement and you say yes, like that baby is yours, or babies. And when I say babies, I mean, I call kids babies. They could be 18 or 6. I call kids babies. Them children are yours until they transition prayerfully back home. So now, like I said, sometimes situations happen where you can't keep the placement going. Like sometimes it'll just be so hard for you to where you can't keep the child in your home because for whatever reason that child just don't want to be there, or they just don't understand why were put in place to help them. And a lot of times kids do things and their behaviors become so disruptive that sometimes you have to terminate the placement, right? And that's the hardest part to me about foster care, is when that has to happen. And I haven't had to do that too many times. I've had to do it twice in my 3 years. And it was a situation where I had no way around it. Like I did as much as I could to preserve the placement, but that child just would not allow it to happen. So when you just keep fighting and fighting, then I'm gonna eventually I'm gonna have to, because you forcing my hand to let go. So I try to stay very positive. And like I told you guys before, my ultimate goal is to own my own daycare. Like I've always wanted to do that, because baby, when I tell y'all, when my children were small and they were going to daycares, like baby, I had some nightmare stories about childcare. So that's why, I look like I was just talking about Strongmommychrissy, and she has 8 children. She figured out a way to where she could be a stay-at-home mom and afford to take care of her children and herself and their needs without having to put them in foster care, or not foster care, I'm sorry, y'all, into daycare. And that's a lot. I didn't have that opportunity. Like, I had to go to work. I just wasn't thinking that way. My thing was like, I have to go to work. And pretty much when my children were very young, I had to put my children in daycare. And I've had some couple horror stories about daycare. I would share this story with you guys, a little small story time, really quick. My children, I just had my 3 oldest at that time. And they were like 8, 6, and 4. Yeah, 8, 6, and 4. And I was working at the hospital, and I was working night shift. I was working 3 to 11. So, the daycare that my children were going to, they would pick them up from the school. Okay? So, it was probably about the daycare that I was going to, they opened from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight. Okay? Which was, at that time, was very a rarity to find in my city, because it was very hard to find childcare that did either evenings or overnights, right? So this particular night, I got off work and I went to go get my children from the daycare. So I got to the door, pushed the little buzzer. The lady let me in. And when I walked in, it was a center, okay? It wasn't a home daycare. It was a center. And when I walked into the center, I heard like a TV in the background. And so the lady pointed, she was like, the children are in that room over there. So as I go in there to get my children, I look on the floor and my 3 kids were laying on the floor, the concrete floor, with a blanket. Just a regular blanket, no pillow, no nothing, just a regular blanket. And I was like, oh. So I turned to the woman, I said, excuse me, why are my kids laying on the floor? She's like, oh, we ran out of cots. Okay. I said, well, ma'am, again, why are my children laying on the cold concrete floor? Well, they have a blanket there. Ma'am, that's a skinny, small blanket. So I immediately grabbed my kids, got them. It was like around this time of year. It was probably like March. And so it was still, cold outside. It was early March or somewhere around that time. So it was still cold outside. So I got their coats on, put their hats on and stuff. Got my babies in the car. I got them home because I didn't live far from the daycare. I lived maybe a mile or something from the daycare. Got my kids home. Got them undressed. And got them in the bed. I didn't even give them a bath. I did that. I believe I did it that morning. And I put my babies in the bed. And you guys, I went to my room. And I sat on my bed and I just cried. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to do something. Like, I cannot put my kids through that, anymore. So, needless to say, that morning I called the center and I spoke to the director and I let them know how I felt about my children laying on a naked floor. Because to me, that was a naked floor. Like that little thin blanket, baby, that was naked. Okay? She apologized and she tried to make excuses and this, that, and the other. And I said, ma'am, there is never an excuse of why a child should be laying on a concrete floor. There's not a excuse. And I end up calling my supervisor that morning after that conversation with that director. I called my supervisor that morning and told her what happened. And I said, hey, I need to switch shifts. I can no longer work 3 to 11. I have to work 7 to 3. And she allowed me to switch shifts. And therefore, that way I was able to get my kids to school and then pick them up in the evening, and that they didn't have to endure that anymore. Now, needless to also, you guys, I also had took a couple of days off to find a new daycare, and I ended up finding another daycare, and I was able to drop them off. They open at 6 in the morning, so I was able to drop them off in the morning. And the daycare that daycare also picked them up from school and brought them back to the daycare, and I was able to pick my kids up from the daycare. So that's just one incident that I had. It was a couple more incidents, but out of all the incidents, that was the most severe incident of my children being in daycare. And like I said, y'all, this video is not going to be for everybody. It's only going to be for the ones who could feel where I'm coming from. And so I understand. So that's the reason why I aspire to own my own home daycare. Like, because if I can prevent anybody from going through the daycare nightmare that I went through, or nightmares that I went through, I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. And I just keep praying, you guys. I just keep praying that the Lord blesses me and reveals to me how I should get my daycare going. Because I truly want that to be my story. I truly want to be a daycare owner. Don't get me wrong, you guys. I like being a foster parent as well. I do. But again, with fostering, you can do it as long as you can, and then you got to take a break from it, because it can be very overwhelming, and because you are literally on duty nonstop 24/7. But yeah, you guys, like I said, I am working on that actively as we speak. I'm trying to get some classes done, so therefore I can become licensed to own my home daycare. And also once I move, so I can get a bigger space. And eventually from my home daycare, I want to eventually move it into a center. And that's my long-term goal, is to have my own daycare center. So yeah, you guys, that's a little story time with me, you guys. Like I said, this video is not going to be for everybody. That it was just, that's going to help some people that's going to stumble across this video. So again, you guys, I thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, you guys be easy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.